The date is January 21st, 2016, and a brand new game in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise has just been released on Steam. Hundreds of eager fans jumped to Steam to buy the game, unaware of the chaos that was about to unfold. After only 5 days, the game was pulled from Steam. How did this happen? What caused such a harsh reaction? You'll find out in the history behind FNAF World. Fresh off the release of FNAF 4, the fanbase was larger than ever after being given a confusing, yet somewhat satisfying ending to the franchise. They had finally seen what they thought was...
Was that the bite of 87?
And the crying child being told that he would be put back together, which appeased most fans and theorists. Behind the scenes, Scott was looking to make something new. He looked back on his older games, wondering if he could take a shot at making an RPG just like he used to. The story of FNAF World starts on August 3rd, 2015. Scott updated his website as he had done so many times before, but as fans went to scottgames.com, instead of being met by a teaser for something new, they were greeted by a simple message. Thank you. Followed up by a picture of all the characters that everybody in the fanbase knew, standing still and staring at the camera. No one was expecting an ending like this. A lot of people thought this was the end, as the teasers leading up to FNAF 4 were labelling the game as the final chapter. Up until this point, Scott had been working solely on FNAF games for nearly a year straight after the success of the original game in 2014. People thought it was over. No more games, and the website remained dormant.
You've got mail.
September 9th, 2015. After over a month of no activity, the website was updated. At first glance, not many people noticed anything, until some people started to look a little bit deeper, and then they saw... People noticed that one of the endos was changed into an entirely different art style. It was unlike anything that the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise had ever seen, and as each day of the month went on, a new character was updated, sometimes even multiple, to change to this new art style. Also, there were the small updates that Scott did for the GT livestream, but we're not going to talk about that here. Fans were left to wonder what this could mean. After over a month of fan confusion, Scott would post a new video on November 2nd, 2015, simply titled FNAF World Teaser Trailer. And, well...
What the?
Oh my god! Holy crap!
Least to say, some people were confused, but definitely highly interested in what Scott had been developing. Oh no. They're coming. Hey, you're finally awake. You were trying to subscribe, right? Walked right into that like button? Same as us. That subscriber over there. Anyway, if you made it this far into the video, don't forget to subscribe, it really helps out. Anyway, let's get back to the serious video. Least to say, the reaction was mixed. Many people didn't know what to expect or to think. Some people had thought that the franchise had run its course, but fans were excited nonetheless. On the same day of the teaser trailer releasing, the new FNAF World website was updated. Oh boy, I can't wait to see the new teaser image. Let's see what we've got here. Oh wow, many people thought that Scott had been upset over the backlash of the trailer and posted this in anger or upset, but it just turned out that he was trying to show FNAF World had hidden lore. This was not conveyed very well. A lot of people were left wondering if Scott had gotten depressed due to the backlash of the teaser. Of course, this was not the case. Scott was just trying to show that the game was darker than it looked on the surface. And after 27 days of the See What You Have All Done teaser, a new one came out, arguably just as creepy and also making people question if Scott was okay. This was once again done to show that the game had hidden lore and darker themes. This teaser was also not conveyed very well. And then, after a month of no teasers, Scott posted a Merry Christmas post with all of the characters lined up for the festive season. Isn't this great? It's like nothing bad ever happened at all, and at this time, the game was only a couple of weeks away from being released. What could go wrong? Ow. Although it had been a rocky road for FNAF World, that road soon turned into a cliff. As the game launched at $10, it was the most expensive game out of the franchise at the time, so when the fans expected a fully 3D environment and endless opportunities of gameplay, they were astounded to be greeted by... Rightfully, the mass majority were just a little bit annoyed. The features of the game were bare bone, it had no stats, no indication of levels, and no way to see what abilities did what. The game was an RPG that was lacking the features that an RPG should have. After a single day of the game being out, Scott immediately issued a full apology stating,
I'm going to fix this, and I'll be updating the game with these features in the coming weeks.
After that statement, on January 25th, the game was pulled from Steam, with another statement being issued that said,
I've also asked Valve to make it so that the game can be refunded regardless of the amount of time it has been owned, meaning that anyone could get a refund at any time. It may take them a while to set that up, but it will be in place soon.
So after its 5-day debut, and everyone was offered a refund, the game was pulled from Steam permanently until Scott had added the features to the game. But some brave souls decided to not take the refund and still have it in their Steam library to this day. I mean, what kind of idiot would do that? The opinion of many content creators and fans alike were furious that the game was released unfinished, and not like how the trailers had shown. This only caused even more uproar in the fandom, as some people who hadn't even played the game refused to play it outright. This only went on to permanently taint the game's reputation before it had even been fixed or finished. After the game got vanquished off Steam, many people had to wait for the Game Jolt release to play the game. And then on February 8th, 2016, the game received its saving update in many people's eyes. The game had 3D environment, stats page, leveling system, and different effects for each world. On top of this, the game received its full Game Jolt release for anyone to be able to play for free. A lot of fans were happy with this update as it finally gave the game some life and its own feeling. Although the issues with the original game still persisted in this new update, especially after all the negative backlash of the game's launch, which loomed over it for the rest of its lifespan. The change in quality from the original game to the new update definitely showed in different people's gameplay. People were surprised Scott managed to put the entire update together in just 2 weeks after the game's launch. But then they have to remember, he released 4 fully complete games in 1 year with no breaks in between. After some time had passed, people were able to beat the game in normal mode, and after defeating the security owl, they were met with,
Congratulations. You beat an imaginary monster in an imaginary game without taking any risks and without finding anything interesting on the easiest possible difficulty. So, great job. I'm still in control of you, and I say that you are finished here. You did away with a pretty powerful creation, but as for me, I remain out of your reach. But I believe a more generic and cliched statement of appreciation is in order for your lackluster accomplishment. Thanks for playing.
After reaching the same area in hard mode and defeating the security owl again, players were not greeted by the same ending. They would go through a tent and in the distance they saw a blue pixelated static, and once players had approached it, that's right, Scott made himself the final boss in his own RPG. Now, there are a lot of ways to kill Scott. For example, it's possible to one-hit him with unscrew or escape key, but it is much more rewarding to beat Scott the regular way. Unless you're a speedrunner, of course, then you can put a full team of unscrew characters and one-tap him. Now, we've talked about the 2 main endings to this game, but this game has secrets. The game actively goes out of its way to tell you that there are things hidden under the surface, and it's not wrong. Fredbear, the character who tells you where to go throughout the game, actively gives you warnings to not travel 3 layers deep into the subtunnels. If you ignore him completely, and continue anyway, you'll find yourself in a red forest with an old man sat fishing by the pond. If you approach the man, he will say, "I'm sorry to say you've gone too deep into the code. There is no way back out. My name is Old Man Consequences. Come and have a seat, and let's fish for a while. You have nowhere else to go." The game will remain stuck on the screen until the player resets. If the player chooses to go back to Old Man Consequences, they can look around the red forest and approach the lake. If the player decides to jump into the lake, then they will fall for a couple of minutes before being greeted by. This screen still has not been explained today, and many theories behind it remain interesting at best. I don't think we'll ever find out what it's meant to mean. Alright, on to the next ending. As players began to explore the mines, they looked at the minimap and noticed that there was a small corner of the cave that had a small opening. If they approached the corner, they found... Is that Chipper? They found Chipper. I don't think anyone was expecting this, but if you beat him, he swears his revenge on you by saying he will use your bones to sharpen his teeth, and condemns Freddy Fazbear for taking the spot away from him, before abruptly dying. Well, that was something. Maybe let's move on to something a little bit more lighthearted. Let's see what the next ending is. Well, this ending is really simple to get. All you have to do is select Fredbear in your first character slot in Team 1, and then go and speak to NPC Fredbear, and... This game has a lot of endings where people just die. The final ending, and the most complicated, and often thought to be the canon ending, if the game wasn't pushed into being a spin-off of course, was the clock ending. The ending is super long, so I'm going to try my hardest to shorten it down for everyone. If you wait at the end of NPC Fredbear's dialogue, he begins to glitch out, starts talking about finding the clocks around the map. If you start looking deeper, you'll notice different clocks along the map. Walking into the clocks will show you a small mini-game. Completing the mini-game will make the clock disappear. What was strange about these mini-games is they weren't exactly tied into FNAF World, they were linked to FNAF 3, and the different actions you would need to do in that game to get the good ending. Nonetheless, if you complete all the mini-games, you'll find a portal in Fazbear Hills. Entering the portal, you'll be greeted by the same yellow eyes you saw when you booted the game up, although this time it's different. The eyes tell you that the pieces are in place for you, and all you have to do is find them, before simply saying, rest. After that, the eyes disappear, and upon returning to the title screen, you have a trophy of the ghost children, except they aren't crying anymore. Well, with all of the work put into FNAF World's original form to make it complete, a lot of the fans were pleased, and Scott decided to take a short hiatus. After Scott's... wait, it was only a month. After Scott's very short hiatus, he began work on what would have been known as FNAF World Update 2, and it wasn't long before the community found out about it, as just 18 days into February 2016, he posted a teaser of all of the characters that would be coming to the game after Update 2. These new characters were all of the Halloween animatronics from FNAF 4, it's Coffee from Scott's older game, The Desolate Hope, William Afton in his sprite form, and Anim Dude, which is Scott's avatar. This is now the second time that Scott has inserted himself into this game. Let's see if we can get a third time. The fans will have to wait until March 30th, 2016 before they got their next teaser, and under closer inspection, people noticed that there were planes flying in the top right corner of the screen. Many people question what this had to do with the FNAF world and why it was even here, but we didn't have to wait too long for the next teaser, as just 2 days later on April 1st, Scott updated his whole website to show it was a cat. Well anyway, at this time he also updated scottgames.com. Let's go see what was on there. Okay, he's just messing with us now. After April 1st, both teasers were set back to how they were before, and it took till May 1st, 2016 for the next teaser to come out, and all it added was a rainbow. Interesting, I wonder what this means. The teaser in question also showed a release date for Update 2, which was May 13th, 2016. Oh, I can't wait. I wonder how serious he's going to take an update for this game. On May 13th, 2016, FNAF World Update 2 was released to everyone for free. Once the game was booted up, everything was pretty much the same. It took some exploring to find Fredbear, where he told you the game was a failure and you should just go and play an indie horror game. I see what you did there, Scott. After much convincing, Fredbear finally tells you that he is making something, before telling you that any team you have would get wiped out by his guardian. Fredbear tells you that the only way to reach the guardian is to get to the room and find the forgotten characters hidden in the depths of the game where their code is being reused for spin-offs. Once the portal has been entered, you arrive in the Halloween Update backstage, where you can find different forgotten characters standing around. After some exploring, you will see there are portals leading into each spin-off game. Depending on which character you talk to, they will tell you if they're in the spin-off game or in a different spin-off game. Now, some of the challenges to unlock these characters can be incredibly difficult. For example, some require you to perfectly beat the game or beat the game without getting any upgrades, but we'll get into that. Enough yapping, let's actually have a look at some of these spin-off games. Now, knowing Scott, these will be completely serious. These spin-off games are a complete joke and can be semi-difficult. I promise I'll explain the difficulty soon. Well, let's start with an easy one, shall we? Let's see here. Perfect. It's a game about a rainbow. I bet this will be easy. I want to kill that rainbow. Chica's Magic Rainbow is a platformer that features Chica and a floating rainbow that doesn't like it very much when you try to mute them. This spin-off game is a platformer that does not care if you think it's fair or not. And that's because it's not fair. If you beat this thing in over 3 minutes, you unlock Scott. But if you beat this thing in under 3 minutes, which I will not be doing for my own sanity, it's just... The next spin-off is Foxy.exe, and it sounds exactly how it is. You move to the right, stop occasionally, and you beat it. Sounds really complicated, I know. But in all seriousness, it's a joke to other EXE games and how the horror can be a bit, basic. The character you unlock from beating Foxy.exe is Night Marion. Foxy.exe is the only game that has a single character unlock, which is strange, but not as strange as the next spin-off. FNAF 57, Freddy in Space. Yes, you heard that right, the funny haha April Fool's joke on scottgames.com is a spin-off that's real in FNAF World. And what's ironic about this is it's even become its own trilogy of games in recent years. Freddy in Space 1 is similar to Metroid, You collect upgrades and cupcakes which let you progress as the game goes on. And as you start to progress... Is that Scott? Did he manage to do it again? He found a way to self-insert again! Ironically enough, as you progress, Scott starts to talk to you and tells you that you're not supposed to be here while listing a load of fake spin-off games, which I'll have some thrown on screen here. Isn't one of them called fucking Puppet Dies in Space or some shit? The final boss of FNAF 57 is, you guessed it, Scott. He made himself the boss twice in his own game. The characters you unlock in FNAF 57 are Jack O'Bonny, William Afton, and Coffee from The Desolate Hope. The way you unlock Jack O'Bonny is by beating FNAF 57 regularly without doing anything special, while unlocking William and Coffee are a little bit more complicated. William is the easiest of the two in the sense that you have to collect all of the secret cupcakes throughout the level and beat Scott, while Coffee is a lot more difficult. Coffee is acquired by collecting 0 upgrades, 0 cupcakes, and nothing. If you can beat Scott like that, then you unlock Coffee. And once again, for my own sanity, I will not be doing this. The final spin-off game is Foxy Fires. This is one of the most unique takes, and it rips off Star Fox by giving the characters voices. I'm sure this was a great decision.
You won't get tired of my voice, will you? You won't get tired.
I mean, this is a perfect decision. Look at Fredbear's voice.
Holy crap, is that my voice?
Anyway, after you get used to the characters having voices, you are introduced to Souldozer. In case you were unaware, Souldozer is actually another one of Scott's older characters from The Desolate Hope. This man is really good at reusing his older characters, huh? If you beat Souldozer after losing a couple of friends on the way, then you are rewarded with... well, maybe another character you get for beating rank A will be better, right? Wow, this is great. Once you collected all of your creatures, you can go into the maze. Now, Scott knew people wanted to use the old characters in the new combat, so what did he do? He made it so the old characters would immediately die to poisoning that only the new characters could get past by using a special move that only they had. He also made them the strongest characters in the game, so good job. You made it so nobody would want to play the old characters anymore. He was not letting you unscrew the final boss this time. After traversing the maze, you eventually stumble upon the Purple Geist, the boss of the maze, a creature that he made to defend the... That's right, the boss you were supposed to fight gets immediately killed by the Rainbow, who said she's going to kill you with a Mega Death Laser, and the only way to win the fight is if you can kill her in under 3 minutes. So now any chance of wanting to use your old characters has immediately gone out of the window. Anyway, if you somehow manage to get lucky and beat the Rainbow, she screams at you before dying. This is probably the most satisfying clip I have seen in my life.
The next time you see a rainbow in the sky, that is me coming to your house!
But then, the game gets very dark. Once you beat the Rainbow, you are taken to a grey room with a man. This man is theorized to either be Scott or Henry. After a short time, he turns and says, "I'm impressed. What are you doing here? Can't you see I'm busy? You deactivated my games. I don't know what else to do. I don't want to disappoint. Something terrible is coming. Her name is Baby. I'm afraid there's nothing you can do. It's too late to deactivate her." Once he finishes talking, the lights go out. You see 2 yellow eyes appear in the side of the screen. And you hear,
"The show will begin momentarily. Everyone, please stay in your seats."
You hear some strange noises, and then the lights flicker back on. You see the man at his desk, slumped over, blood pouring everywhere. Killed by his own creation. And that is the story of FNAF World. But this game does not end with its own conclusion. The game's effect were everlasting to the series. The way it impacted him echoed through the rest of the series, and in Scott's own words, FNAF World is the single most valuable game.
Out of the entire franchise. And the reason is because what I learned from FNAF World is what is driving every single project going on right now. It is serving as the gemstone of quality control in my mind, and it has solidified exactly what I have to do going forward. If I was treating the movie as I was treating my game series at the time I made FNAF World, we would be 3 movies into the FNAF movies by now.
FNAF World is the piece of the puzzle that made FNAF as indestructible as it is now. All due to the reason that it was nearly the death of it all. FNAF World Update 2 was also used to tease the release of the yet announced game at the time, FNAF Sister Location. After the release of Sister Location, FNAF World fell into obscurity, until recent times where it is genuinely looked upon as a positively cute and spin-off game of the main series. One of the main quotes I've seen based off FNAF World is, "It's a great game with large problems." People enjoyed playing FNAF World, but it has its flaws. In times like these, it's rare to see developers fix the games they've broken, and it's even rarer to see the fixes actually improve the game. What Scott was able to accomplish with FNAF World was a miracle itself, and it's a testament to his ability and the care for the franchise that he was able to turn something hated into something that was beyond ever what it was originally meant to be. And as of January 26th, 2025, FNAFworld.com was shut down indefinitely. And that was the history behind FNAF World. Wow, this was one of the largest videos we have ever done. I just want to thank you all for watching. I know a lot of new people have discovered this channel, whether you discovered it through the parody video or the Astral Spiff tweet that happened a couple of months ago. This video has been in the works for ages. If you're here from that, then hi. But in all seriousness, it really does mean a lot to see so many new people around. I want to give a huge shout out to Phil LeBrave for telling us what Scott's older games were so we could use them in certain parts of the video. I want to thank Unknown Specimen for being the voice of Scott. Whenever you heard him speaking, that was unknown. You did a great job, thank you. And I want to thank Sire Squawks for letting us use his FNAF World clock ending footage. That saved us a lot of time in editing in post, so thank you. We really appreciate that everyone stuck around to the end. This really means the world. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. We've got more big videos like this coming up. It's just they take a while to make. I'm sorry it took so long. This has been Exploding Loaf. We'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.